Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very, very welcome. How great to see everybody back. I trust you enjoyed my last video on Australian country superstar James Blundell, and through his song This Road we looked at a life of adventure, so I trust you found that one interesting. Well, we're going from there to 1929 in Bremen, Germany. Just got to read my numbers on my page here. This guy studied the piano at 10, and it became very, very clear very, very early on that this guy was going to be a bit of a musical genius. In fact, it was around 1948 to 1955 that this guy started the Last Baker Ensemble, and because of that this guy became a bit of a superstar. Absolutely. He dared to dream, looked at the big bands of the past. Obviously born in the 1920s, he certainly did experience people like Duke Ellington, Dizzy Gillespie and all those sort of guys like that one. Thought, well, actually I'm getting a bit older now, so what am I going to do to shake things up even more? So what he thought he'd do is, hey, let's just take some popular tunes and make them sound really, really, really good, like exceptionally good. No, for you to be a musician in this guy's stage band, you've got to be exceptionally good, because it's so that the pace can be absolutely ferocious at times, and because of that, over 190 albums this guy has released. Estimated sold around 200 million albums. Many of them, lots of them, practically all of them, gold, if not platinum. And because of that, we've got to give James Last, who we're talking about today, a bit of a go. Now you might be thinking, who's James Last? Well, what a great question that is. He sold 200 million albums. Let that sink in for a minute. 190 albums and counting. Now, I know I've heard of James Last because I remember a cassette in my mum and dad's cassette collection. And when I got, of course, I'm going through the Jameses at the moment, I thought, well, what about doing this guy? When I discovered the significance of this guy, I thought, you've just got to give him a go. Just let me just say it again. 190 albums. 200 million albums estimated that he has sold. So we're talking an absolute superstar in the stage band circuit, probably one of those highest selling stage band artists, conductors, procurers of all time. So when you have someone as significant as this guy, you've got to give him a bit of a go. Now, what made this guy so popular? Well, before we get on to that, in between 1950 and 1952, this guy was a very, very incredible jazz bass player, and he was the bass player of the year for 3 years running. Who would have thought a bass playing would have an award? But this guy was so incredibly loved that he got best bass at 3 years running. He was then sought after as an arranger, and this would be the thing that would set James Last out apart from his contemporaries, and that is he became in-house arranger for Polydor Records, absolutely a mega record company at that point. But James Last thought, well, what am I going to do? How can I shake things up a bit? And what we've been looking at over the last few videos as we've started 2024 is how can we shake things up? Whether it's Flash Dance What a Feeling or Can You Feel It from the Jacksons, and many, many other songs like that. We get to this guy today, and we just realised that this guy thought, I want to shake things up big time. First of all, I've got a lot of musicians on stage. What am I going to do with them? I tell you what, let's make sure the drums are big and loud. And because I'm a bass player, I'm going to have the bass loud as well. Let's add some guitar in there as well. And let's be really, really heavy on the brass, because, brass just sounds really, really good. It's nice and loud, and it's bright and all the rest of it. In fact, James Last's band has been dubbed the band of happy music, and he brought happiness to millions and millions of people all around the world. Whenever you went to see James Last concert, you left with a big, massive smile on your face. And so he thought, well, I've got all these musicians on stage. I've got some pretty amazing songs. let's really bring the stage band into the 1970s, where he became absolutely massive. In fact, James Last, can we say, you know, in this day of remixes now, when you think of remixes, you think of songs which were once one thing and now there's something else. There's been a slight twinge to it, slight change to it. One of the songs I think about in that case, I think of ELO's Xanadu, you know, back in the 1980s. Well, that was remixed for the Mardi Gras Festival a little bit later when Olivia Newton-John started her stuff there. That's a remix. We're just contemporising it, things just a little. Well, this guy pretty well started that off. They thought, what can I do to take a perhaps a boring song and really, really make it something really, really cool? And so James Last had a lot to do with this concept of dance music, remixing and all the rest of it, because, you know, as you can see when you see some of these live clips, the guys are having an absolute ball on stage. You know, they're doing the waving and the turning, all the rest that you do. When you were a James Last musician, you had an absolute ball. And so what can we do as James Last has done? But we'll just look at a couple of clips before we make some more comment. Dance music. So we've got a live version of just a whole heap of pop songs from 1976. You might remember some of these songs and you think, well, this sounds just like the studio. Absolutely. But to be able to pull this off like this guy has done, let's not underestimate what's going on here. We've got some pretty incredible musicians. We've got some incredible arrangement, and we just got James just doing what he does. He just energizes and empowers his band just to do more and more and more. So we've got just a melody of songs from 1976 live. By this point, he was a major European star, obviously born in Germany. Germany's sort of one of these places where there's many, many countries all kind of grouped together. He became a major European star. In fact, a bit of a superstar, really, in many, many ways. He had a television series in the 1970s, and including artists like Abba, because Abba were big in the 70s, as we know, and there's a live version of a bit of an Abba medley there, and just the emphasis on heavy sound and beat, absolutely. And so we've got a bit of a live version of some Abba medley hits. Between 1967 and 1986, he had 52 hit albums. And it was only number 2 to Elvis Presley for some of that time. He was so popular. And so, you know, this guy could do nothing wrong. We just don't realise the impact this guy has had on music, particularly in multi-instrumental genres. And if you think about, I suppose, movie soundtracks these days, there's all sorts of stuff going in there. So James Last had a bit of an influence on that as well. He really proved to say that, hey, we can, an orchestra, a band can do anything at any time, and this is absolutely what made James Last, it gave his legacy to the world. And so it's good to give this guy a bit of a go today. We've got Orange Blossom Specials, a live version. See how quick this is. The drummer's really driving things big time here. So we've got Orange Blossom Special. We then got My Way, the iconic Frank Sinatra piece. It's good to see something a little bit more reflective and a little bit more cruisy, I suppose. We've got a live version of My Way. Pretty amazing trumpet player in there. We've got the iconic Rocky theme, of course, and when you think about brass, you think of that song, da 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 da. And you know, James Last absolutely pulls off anything he arranges. And then for just something a bit different, we've got Pulstar. This is from the Royal Albert Hall. Pulstar is just pretty cool and pretty amazing kind of song. And so we had to put that one in there as well from the Royal Albert Hall. As I said before, over 190 albums and counting, 200 million album sales. Many of them went gold, if not platinum. So very successful in the scheme of things for someone who was a band leader. He did receive the highest award for a civilian in West Germany, and he did leave us at the age of 86 a little while back. And a beautiful love story behind all of this. He was married to Waltred until she died for 42 years. So a pretty amazing love story and longevity of what can be a very fickle industry where people tend to change people around all the time. Not James Last. He stayed with this girl all of their life, and 42 years of marriage is pretty good. And so, as you can see from this genre, we've gone heavy metal, we've gone pop rock, soft rock, we've done children's music, we did country music last time, we've done disco royalty. Well, we've gone to the big band era today, but modernised into the 1970s, and James Last was well and truly part of that genre. As I said a few times, 200 million albums sold, so very significant. The Beatles have sold 600 million, Elton John 300 million, so he's getting up there as one of the highest of all time. So it's good to give this guy a bit of a go today. So the links to those 6 clips are in the description below, and I've also included my last video from James Blundell, so if you want to keep recap on him, feel free. Well, this is your first time to Life Reflections of Music, or you've come back for another one. It's great to see everybody here. You're very welcome as always. Well, next time as we continue on with the Jameses, we're going to get on to James Taylor. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.